Good morning, Jaxx Vane Studio Live. Did I update the number? 37, yeah. And buongiorno. Today, I think today is the day. After what? About 2 weeks of coding without really seeing much. I think today is going to be the day that we're going to see the result of our work and finally see two boats on the screen. Still a lot of work to do, but yeah, I sound happy. I'm pretty confident that today is going to happen. I'm happy to, get over this. I drink way too much coffee, maybe that's why. Yeah. Well, I'm not really fast, but yeah, I wrote most of the boring stuff. Yeah. So now I am into a little bit more interesting, fun stuff. But yeah, I'm not a great fan of multiplayer net coding. Code. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just that testing it, and we will see today how painful it is to test it. Even the very simple test that we're going to do today, it's netcode is a bitch. It's really a bitch because it's completely unpredictable. Luckily, now I have enough experience after all the netcar and Assetto Corsa and blah, 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 that I can sort of predict what is going to happen before it happens. But I remember when I started with netcar, oh my God. It's usually the way I do things, right? It's usually the way I do things. I tend to really dive into head first, even if I'm not really sure or have any idea of what I'm going to do. So yeah, that's. I think you can say, oh, what's going on here? So as I was saying. What I was talking about? Yeah, I was talking about the fact that I have these habits of just diving into stuff, even if I don't understand stuff completely. And I remember how naive I was back in the netcar days, where I really thought there was a way to actually get a feedback on whether or not. Well, first of all, yes, of course I read the fact that packets could arrive on UDP out of order or not arrive at all. Yeah, but I really thought that there was some kind of system to get feedback on how things were going. And yeah, it was really learning, by doing mistakes over mistakes. And Furia 600, thanks for the follow. So luckily this time I don't have to go through all that. I remember also in AC1 I started trying to get everything run on UDP, and that's usually the big problem, right? Because especially when you're trying to sync the status of the game. And stuff that, needs to be completely 100% reliable. So let's say, for example, that the server decides that it's time to move to a new session. So the qualify is over. So, okay, let's go to the new session. And then it will also send some other messages to reset the car, so things like that. And if these messages don't arrive or arrive out of order, you can end up with clients in a very funny situation, and that takes ages to debug. Nathan Zero Folgore, good morning and thank you for the follow. Those could take ages to understand what's going on and try to replicate the problem and even hope to have fixed it, right? So at a certain point in AC1, I said, screw it, I don't want to deal with this. And I moved to the double channel, where similar to what I'm doing here. So TCP for stuff that needs to be there, and UDP for unreliable communication, which is just the positions and the ping. Anyway, let's try to get this boat started. So right, so we need to implement this, but before we implement this, we need to do something important. So right now I have a structure called GameState, which is not this one, ServerGameState, right? And this ServerGameState has this both GameState, and I have a feel that this guy should not be here. Hello, when you hire junior developer, what are the things you look... very difficult question, man, because in my experience with Kunos Simulazioni, sadly, we didn't have that many applications to be that picky about it, right? So the ideal candidate, for me, the ideal candidate will have a very good understanding of whatever language that we're using. So at the time, would that be C++? And ideally an understanding of what kind of game or products we're doing. So in the case of when I was in Kunos Simulazioni, we never had like the ideal candidate, right? We never had a guy showing up with very good C++ chops and a big passion for racing games. We never had that guy showing up. You know, it was always either very good in C++, but moderate to non-existent interest in racing simulations, or it was passion for racing simulations, but not very strong C++. So yeah, it's a question that really depends on how many applicants you had. Hey, Michael, good morning. Applicants you have. So how picky you can be. You know, the more applicants you have compared to what you need, the more you can be picky. Tio Cap, good morning. Have you swapped out the boat for a pre-war car yet? No, but my God, that video with the GT40 on the rain, that really had me, you know, that also the video with the Bugatti pre-war, you know, I think I should unsubscribe from that Goodwood channel. Every time they post something, I go like, oh my God, I should really do a racing simulation. I was thinking maybe I should do for the first time in my life, maybe I should do a open source racing simulation where you don't really pay for it, but you pay through Patreon or something like that. You see what I mean? That will bring a lot of, you know, how you say, trust in the community to actually get to support me while I'm doing it. But you know, I don't know. But yeah, those videos are really making me, oh my God, I would love to do this. But then you know what, then I go on race department and look at the any random thread, and then I remember why I don't want to do a racing simulation anymore. You think Patreon is going to pay the bills? I think it's possible. If you look at projects like Blender, for example, you can definitely get this kind of situation going. So you can imagine, for example, a company that starts to use the open source software for their own events or stuff like that, and they're making money, and they have all the interest in the project to continue and to improve. They will support the project on Patreon, right? So it will still be probably cheaper than acquire a license. Yeah, I mean, it's not really race department, isn't it? It's just that very vocal minority of the community that is, it's difficult. It's very difficult. All right. And we got this thing to build. Finally. All right, now I have to remember what the hell I was trying to do and why I did this. Okay, the main point was to detach. Okay. Got it. Okay, so what we need is a way. Okay, let me go to game mode multiplayer. So game mode multiplayer, at a certain point, so we receive our stuff, and what we do is we receive a boat update. Actually, I haven't checked that this part is working, right? So it's time to check it. So println receive boot update. Right, so let's check that this guy is working. Then start my first client. And then start my second client. Boom. Crash. Nice. All right, so let's go and see. So server is still up, which is nice. So what's going on here? Index is 0. Okay, we're still at this problem. Okay, I can't do this until I do this. But did I receive a message? I don't think I did. Not great, but I'm not a professional musician. I'm not gigging every night, so I hope it's not going to affect me that much. Yeah, I think you are at risk if that's your career and you do like 3 or 4 gigs every week, right? If you play 2 gigs a month, 3 gigs a month, still dangerous. It's the drummers, man. It's always the drummers. They don't have a volume knob. Still crashing. Right. This shit. Right. Because the entire avatar is assuming that we have the correct number of sales. Do I like Nirvana? No, not really. I think I'm a little bit too old to like Nirvana because I grew up musically in the 80s, so the opposite of Nirvana, right? So everything that Nirvana Nirvana came around, and basically they made like, if you're actually good at guitar, that's not cool, man. You should suck. You know. I remember in that period there were actually people working in music studios, in recording studios, and they were good guitarists, and they were asked to play like shit, because that was the Nirvana Pearl Jam message. So it just became uncool to play well. Funny. Music is a little bit going in circles sometimes. And I think, when was it Nirvana was still doing guitar solo, and then it got even worse with the floggers. You know, with the guys playing in drop Z with the PRS in drop Z, blah, 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 blah. And they, you know, even stopped playing solos. So guitar solos were not cool. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly correct. Not Dick Dev, not Nick Dev. Yeah, I remember. I think Nirvana first album came pretty much in the same period as Dream Theater, Images and Words, and it was like, all right, that's it. That's where we're going, right? Choose where we're going, right? And I was on the losing side. I was on the Dream Theater side, and they lost, and Nirvana became the biggest thing in the world. I have to say though, there is one thing that I like about the Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all the evolution that came out of that period. I like the singers way more. I like way more the singing in Nirvana than in the bands of the hair metal at the time. And I prefer the clothes. I like the idea to just go on stage with normal clothes. I remember when I was playing in the 80s, I wasn't I wasn't really into wearing spandex, and I had my hair, but I didn't want to make my hair and makeup and those things. I was always like, oh no, not sure about that. State default. That should work. Did you make some project with JavaScript? No, nothing at all. I don't even know what it means. React, Angular, I have no idea what that stuff is. Would you say car simulation is harder or easier than a racing yacht? I would say it's easier. It's way easier. I was talking about this the other stream. It's way easier. Cars are super complex because they have so many moving parts. So they have the suspension geometry, the tires interaction with the road is very complicated. The drivetrain, it's very complicated to simulate. Of course, you have things like spring dampers. The differential is a bitch. So I would say cars by a long margin. Yeah, a yacht is mostly one rigid body that is interacting with water and with air, and that's it. Right? And the interaction between water and air is pretty much the same physics with different parameters of density, but the physics concept are the same. What was difficult for me in doing boats is to understand, especially the foiling boats, is to understand how there were things that I was not expecting. I was not expecting, for example, the sail to be essential in controlling the role of the boat, right? And obviously now that's obvious to me, but when I started the project, I didn't really realize that, and it was a little bit of a surprise. So I was expecting, for example, the catamarans to use as much sail power as possible all the time, but it ends up that they're really using a tiny amount of sail power once they go fast. They could use much more angle and much more sail power, but that will capsize the boat, right? So the boat can't take it all that power. That was a little bit of a surprise, but from a physical point of view, I mean, if you look at even at the numbers of lines of code in something like a boat and something like a car, it's like, you know, car is way more complicated. Right. So setting physics state for both 0 to physics state and the helm is none. How is that possible? Is it because, is it the physics implement physics engine step? Is it both state push? I know what it is. Fucking hell. So PS ID, fuck me. Self ID. Fuck. All right. I mean, that's what it is. Let me get rid of all the spam. I'm very sure this is the problem. Right. So in theory, one will crash and the other one will stay up. Perfect. Okay, but I need to get rid of this spam. Definitely we fixed it. So, all right. So we have this. Start client 1 and client 2. Okay, that's the worst possible scenario. Let me try to, because I cannot see the. Okay, so let me do the opposite. So server, and let's start this guy first, and then this. Whoa, what happened? Okay, and then. Okay. Okay, at least I can see the crash. And TJ198, thanks for the follow. All right, so what's the problem here? Oh my God, you have to. A session if input LAN is not server. And client 1 and client 2. So we are still not okay. They are both up. We're still not seeing any boat, which is fine because we are not updating the matrix. But first of all, am I receiving boot updates? Okay, so that's our first problem. So, wow, I thought I would be here like 2 hours ago. Right, okay, so game mode multi. This is good, this is good. I'm not giving up. I'm gonna do it today. Okay, send boot update to 51353. Interesting that it's only sending interesting because I have 2 clients, but it looks like it's only sending to 1 client. So it's this one. It's not receiving updates anymore. I can't believe I'm so stupid. Right? I think I know what's going on. I think because I do Control R and that starts the replay on that stupid thing. Holy shit, that's so stupid. Holy fuck. That is so stupid. So where is the what is it? Replay something. Replay. Oh Jesus. Replay. Right. Fuck me. I really need to implement the focus handling. This is very important. I shouldn't receive keyboard commands if it doesn't have the focus, because I could hear the audio stopping and I was like, what's going on? And that's because the replay started. Right, so this goes here and right, so now we are receiving from both. I mean, that's so stupid. Now we're receiving from both. Let me go. Okay, are we receiving the boot update? Ah, receive boot update. All right, okay. Okay. Update. I think I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Shit, I can't do this. Because the physics is separated. Ah, Jesus. the physics doesn't see the data structures from the... Well, let me create another one. I will have to sort this out. So, what is it? Remote boot update. Boot update. Right, that should work. I think that's it. I think we should be able to see two boots now. I think we should be finally able to see two boats and get some food. So, server. Yep. Client 1. And client 2. I don't see anything. Yep. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Let me check that we see two boats on the other client. 1 and 2. Yes. That's basically 2 weeks of work to get here. Of course, right now the boats are not really moving nice. There is no interpolation. There is no timing correction, but at least we got here and we can move starting from tomorrow. We can move into I'm thinking of basically use the I will just send the AI on a straight line because I can start to see the velocity and the timing. Well, yeah, that's good. That's good. That is good. This obviously will not go away, which is something else we need to do. Or it will just remain there. So lots of stuff to do, but you know, we finally made it here. Oh, fucking hell. Whoa. That was a long, long way to see this happening. But yeah, almost in time for lunch. So, well, that's what is my to-do. So remote bot implementation, shoot two bots on screen. It's all done. We're all happy. It was positive. Hopefully from next streams we will start to see something a little bit more interesting. It's going to be probably one boat going straight and me trying to chase it and see how everything moves. Thanks a lot for sticking with me for this stream and the other boring streams that went in the last couple of weeks. So you need to include that in the YouTube video. I will make sure to include that. So thank you guys, and I will see you, and Richard, thanks for the follow at the end of the stream. And I will see you Friday morning. And yeah, you two have a great afternoon. Ciao, ciao.